There you go. I didn't do anything. Just like that. It's like magic. Hey Google, shut the sliding glass door. I think you'll enjoy if you own pets and you want them to have access. I think it works best for dogs, but it is for pets. And they just have a little coin they wear on their collar. It automatically opens. I really couldn't believe how simple it is, the execution of it, the design, the engineering, and the support you get from the company. Very responsive. So let's check it out. I'm going to install it up here, and they'll be able to enter and leave whenever they want. Right, River? Here is a view of the SmartSlydr, showing you kind of an open piece. Inside it, they 3D printed this. This is the gap between right there on the window. So that's what that is. That's why they had to 3D print it. They ask you for the dimensions, mounting screws. And we've got the rest of this is a extended power plug. I believe it's going to be able to go right there, right next to the window. In my case, here's like an antenna thing, I believe, and those are the two sensors for both of our dogs. On the other end of the box, I found another smaller box, which included this. So what started out to be a little more straightforward looks like it's getting a little more complex. They provide you with some premium lubricant. You want to make sure the sliding glass door slides nicely. Self-tapping screws involved. There are quite a few brackets here, different brackets and gauges, I guess, double stick tape. So I'm on for a journey here. One of the first things I recommended on that side, it says do not remove the end cap, but on this side you do. You slide that off, and inside is a wire. This is for pets. So this is to read those sensors I was showing you earlier, and that kind of comes down. So what's interesting is there are two of them. There's this one it came with, and then here's another one. Now I'm going to deconstruct the work that I did because I actually want to clean up a few things on this install. I'm going to remove this end cap here. And this is interesting. This is on both sides. If you think about it, and this actually happened to me at one point, if this is not secured well, then what happens is this thing itself will actually start going one way or the other because it needs some resistance for it to open your sliding glass door. The sliding glass door is heavy, right? So this needs kind of a piece like that to lean against so that when it's pulling open that door or shutting the door on either side, it's got something locking it in. On this side, this is the one where the sensor is. When you first get it, you'll actually remove this, and inside it has the sensors for the pets if you've selected that option. There are two primary mounting points, and it attaches like you would put, sometimes when you put blinds on windows, it attaches with these kind of clamp things, and it just kind of pivots up. There we go. Come on. Okay, clearly that's not easy. What's interesting is it's really easy. There's just two clamps. But when I was loosening one, the other one would lock, and vice versa. So you really have to try to convince it how to do this. Now, you look at seeing how I'm doing this. You want to rock it in. So right now, if I pull, yeah, there, now it's going to come down. You see that? So, and this is the pet sensor, but that's the SmartSlydr. The other thing that you'll want to do, they don't really have something on here, that's something I may recommend to them too, is from the other side, once it's up, if you ever had to factory reset it, I mean, you can feel around till you hear it, right? You can hear that, and there's a button right there. So that button is how you click and hold it, and it does like a factory reset, puts it back. I've never had to do that, but that's what that's about. When you first look to order it too, they'll ask you for the dimensions, they'll show you how to measure, and once you've got that dialed in, You'd probably also want to share some pictures and measure the distance as well. I think that's one of the things where we kind of were trying to work through. In fact, initially I tried mounting it here. You can see the holes. I'll use some caulking to kind of close that up. But yeah, that's kind of the only thing tricky is dialing in. Some homes, I'm sure the drywall's right up there flush, right? And in this case, I did not have that. But yeah, that's really it. So now I'm gonna put it back together. I'm first gonna paint over the wood pieces that I have here, make that look better here temporarily until I can get some 3D printed pieces. But that's it. Let's do a reverse, mount it back up, and then I'll show you the app. Inside of it, you'll just have this one wire here. Then they gave me a splitter. That way the sensors can be on either side of the sliding glass door. It just makes for a stronger sensor, and the app allows you to dial it in as well. So it took a little bit to kind of figure it out. Nothing too crazy, but the implementation of this thing, it's incredible. Like that's it. When you look at the whole thing, this is really it right there, right? It's the length of the window. It's very thin. It just has this really cool motor and electronics inside. It's Wi-Fi capable. Really, really cool. Now we'll tuck the sensor piece back underneath, or the connector for the pet sensor tucked in here. And you'll put the end cap, and you can see there's a slot, it's slotted there, so you can put the cable through there like that. I just want to give you a nice clear picture of how I'm putting this thing up. So you'll see this clip, this metal clip right here. I want to make sure it's in this groove here, hanging on that edge and this edge. That allows me to rock it, essentially. I'm just gonna put it up like that, and rock it and click it in. And then it's gonna hang on this thing. And it is very secure, as you saw. It's very difficult to take down. There are definitely more variations of sliding glass doors than I imagine. Depends on who the builder is, how they install it. You can see here, there's about a little bit more than 1/4 inch of a lip all the way around. And that's including the top. You can see there, right? So that's what made mine a little bit different. They have you measure because they're trying to understand how big to make 3D print this piece here, which is all important because that's how that motor is connecting, right? And it's opening and closing it. This is my security alarm, Eufy, disregard that. But yeah, that's what they're doing. And you can see it's 3D printed. And they just had to give me a little bit more extra there to kind of make that all happen. And it was real nice to work with them on that piece. This, however, at the time I didn't have this dialed in yet, but now I do. I'll just reach out to them and we'll get a 3D printed piece that's the shape of this kind of U, upside down U, where you have the brackets that support the window. But that's what I did. I ended up pushing this out, and that's about the 1/4 inch right there, right? That makes this now flush. So the lip kind of gets deleted, and it allows me to then mount this U-shaped piece that they had with the 2 brackets. So again, with most things that are worth doing, it's initially intimidating. But once you do it, you're so happy with the finished product. And I'll show you the app. I'll show you how it integrates with Google Home. I don't have Apple Home, but it also integrates with that as well. And disregard this, that's another sensor. And you want to kind of angle it in there, and you want to make sure that you've got that in the groove that you're supposed to get it in. Now that I have it here, I get a sense of how it's locked in now. If I just push down, see how I have it rocking like that? I'm pushing down, and I can tell it's not falling. So I'm definitely in that groove, and I can feel the rubber track, and the metal bracket is not in that track. The next thing you want to make sure is that on the end piece, that you have it nicely lined up there on this side, and the other side, of course, they measure that out for you so that it's the length of your window. Okay, now I haven't clicked it in yet. Now let's get ready to do that. Make sure I've got this where I want it. There we go. And the other part, see right there? Yeah, and then we'll tuck that in that way. Okay, I'm just making sure because these wires, I haven't actually deconstructed this thing at all yet, so that's why I'm being careful. Always take it down again, but that's not a lot of fun. Okay, here we go, ready to click. And there we go. Yeah, it's like that. Just make sure that's in. Yeah, and that's rock solid right there. Boom. Now the sensors for the pet pass. You don't have to get these if you don't have a pet, but we do. We have the 2 dogs. So there's one here, which they recommend installing. I've kind of got that wrapped around there. And there's the second one. It's a bit lower, right? So it kind of creates a zone. So those tags that they're wearing on their necklaces, when they get within the zone, it then triggers and you do need to have power accessible. Thank goodness right here we have a plug. Again, opens there, plugs there. It's kind of nice, kind of stays out of the way. And then we have it running up with an extension that we purchased as well through their site. Then that goes up on this side. They have some interesting configurations because if you think about it, our sliding glass door, I find a bit odd, but it does work with it. This one opens from left to right, but the window itself is on the outside. If you look down, you'll see the inside track and the outside track, right? That's a bit different. I'm used to it being the other way around and opening on that side. So they kind of reversed it here, but they do have it to where you just order which one and they'll help you pick it. They also worked with me on these corner pieces where I told them, I said it wasn't quite sticking or connecting as well, but actually they ended up redesigning it and now these stay on. So it's 3D printed as well. And those lock in, works real well. Now let's put these end caps in. Now that I have it locked in place, we'll clean up the wiring a bit later. There we go. Perfect. Like that. See how it connects? This is the other step. It's the 3D printed part. Find the location that works for you. You'll want to make sure that when you shut your door, you don't have anything in the way. And it kind of works, like you need to kind of dial in where you think it works best. Remember I told you I had an extension that I purchased because the thing you have to keep in mind is the power on the device is over on this side, the left-hand side. Again, depending on your configuration, they'll help you kind of figure out the best one for you. Now that you have this installed, you have this ready to go, I've got my pin released. This doesn't so much matter because right now you're going to see that kind of bob up and down. It's because it's not calibrated yet. I just have to go through that process. All right, here we are in the app. Now I've already added the device. Adding the device is really straightforward. You just go through the process. You can see at our window, it even gives you temperature. That's kind of cool. 46 degrees, we have one device. You could obviously have multiple sliding glass doors with the same concept. Down below here, you'll see the percentages. That's if you wanted to just tap one to open at 50%, it'll open 50%. But we're gonna go to the calibration part. So we're gonna enter and go through there and you can see the Wi-Fi connection says fair. It's actually, I've seen it mostly say excellent. So at this point, probably because I just got it set up again, it's in the fair mode. Then you have, you can manually slide open the app, but I'll show you those other features after this. Let's go to calibration. Go to settings. Before you calibrate, actually, I do recommend that you go to device info and you'll want to check for firmware. Are there any firmware updates? No updates available. I've had 2 firmware updates since I've had the device. You'll also want to select your direction. So we've got a couple things here. You'll name the device, then you have notification settings. You click here, you can see app and voice operations, pet pass one button operations, obstacles and errors. These are kind of your when you get alerted. Then there's a pet pass send request. device sound. You get that digital sound you heard, you can actually turn that off and on. Each time it opens, it will kind of make that sound and alert. A pin, if when you have your like Google Smart Home stuff, you want there to be a pin number, you can set a pin number for that. We currently have this in the kitchen. We already went through device info. In this case, ours is left to right opening direction, and you can also go right to left depending on your device. You can restart the device, remove the device. We're going to calibrate. Yes, continue. It's going to begin the process of doing the calibration. Start calibration. We have two sliding glass doors. This is the one that the dogs kind of go in and out of. And this is kind of just to show you, it's installed right now. You can't even really tell. There's not much evidence at all. There's a little piece of the sensor down there. And there's another sensor you can't see, it's over there. Lily's our Chihuahua. She has hers right here. That's her pet pass. And I can show you in the app how you add it, and then she's able to open the door on her own just by going, naturally they go there. And they have not been scared by it at all. It's very effective, and it's just so nice to have that peace of mind when you're away or you're somewhere having dinner late. You don't have to, oh no, like I have to let the dogs out. And we can't always have them in the yard. It's not the safest, so we do like to have them come in, even though we've got a pretty good sized backyard. This way they have kind of that relaxation. They can go in and out. And while it is currently closed, you'll see, and I've got it engaged, trying to open this thing is not easy. It's because of the gear system and the way that is locked up into this device here. Now, let me walk you through some of the other options we have here. Let's say you want to open the door with the app itself. With my finger, I can push on this and it just dials in a percentage. So if I go here and say open at 38%, there. And you could stop it at any point. I could go ahead and close it. There you go. Down below, you have whether or not you want to allow for your Google Home and all that type of stuff. You have the Pet Pass, which is currently off. Now I'm going to activate it. I'm going to click this, and now it's active. And you see our two dogs, River and Lily. And then if we show you River, we can dial in how far you want each dog for it to open, how wide you open the door, and then the sensitivity of the sensor. So with River, she's taller and she really seems to trigger the sensors more. We have her less sensitive on the Pet Pass. And then you can dial in how many minutes or seconds that it's opened, automatic, or send a request. So if you wanted to monitor your dogs and you wanted, when they got up to the sensor, if you want to control it via a camera, your setup or something like that, you could actually do that here. And then it's got some other debugging things, which I've never had to use, but each of our pets has that setting. Lily, we've got her sensitivity set, and hers isn't open as long. She's a smaller dog. She gets in pretty quick. And then there's the remote. You can see how we can enable it, disable it. Auto close is disabled in this case. We didn't want anything to auto close. If you are on the other side, you definitely would want your phone with you or have another way into your house, because effectively you could lock yourself out. And because they've designed the app to allow you to activate or disable the Pet Pass through the smart home system, then you can program it in your Google Home or your Apple Home and say, hey, between this hour and this hour, activate Pet Pass, or you could say disable Pet Pass. Now, in our situation, we have cats and dogs for the moment. 2 cats are over on the other side. So what we do at night, we keep the dogs in on this side and we activate Pet Pass. That way they can go to the bathroom, whatever they got to do, go get strangers, protect the house. They can come in and out as they see fit. The cats, which you could probably hear one of them right there, they're locked in on that side. It's like zombies. They're kind of locked in on that side with the barn doors. So they can't get out because we don't want the cats getting lost or coyotes grabbing them, the high deserts that way, right? So they're more constrained, but only when we have Pet Pass activated. So at night, that's how we kind of like, or if we go somewhere for dinner or a movie, then we separate them. That way, the cats can't get outside and the dogs have free reign to do as they wish. You have to admit, this is pretty cool. The other thing I'll say, what's really nice, you know how they have those pet insert doors? I tried one of those before, just recently, just before I bought this thing. I was like, oh, let me make sure, because there's cheaper stuff on Amazon, blah, blah, blah. You know, throw the insert in there. But it just really, it didn't cut it. It did not work well. Then you have that weird thing going on. You have less room to go through. Look at this. This did not change at all the width of the access of this door. It opens all the way and closes all the way. It doesn't limit you at all. And that is this part is the one that separates this pin here, and that disengages it so that if you don't want to, yeah, just like that, now it's disengaged. Now I can freely move it. Step back. You can see there's no, it's just normal right there. Moves very smoothly. Put it back. Want to re-engage, put this back in like that. Kind of shift it around there. And then I just keep that little piece up there. It does come attached with a wire, or sorry, string, which I ended up cutting because otherwise it would be hanging there all the time. I did tell them about that. They should look at an option of like having an insert over here somewhere it's a bit hidden or magnetic. Right now I just kind of have it floating up there at the top. All right, I have both dogs outside. There's Lily up there. See it triggered? River. Lily's in. Of course, she's going to camp right there. But actually, I think it's okay. This will be a good test. I think at the setting I've got her at, she has to be much closer. You may be wondering, so what happens if, you know, my dog doesn't quite get through quickly enough? So it does have resistance. You hear that? And then it backs up. And then it attempts to close again. So it does have that ability to go ahead and stop. And you hear that? It's like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but something's not right, so it just completely stops. And at that point, you'd have to then manually shut this. Once it resets, and then we're in the clear. You know how Hollywood says never work with animals? Well, this is one of those moments. I'm trying to get either one of them now to trigger to come in, which they do constantly, and now no one's interested. There's more information right there in the pamphlet. Open the sliding glass door 50%. See, there's a fly flying around. That's where that net, having that net would make sense. There you go. Go out, dude. Go out. Why is that a thing? Well, we have 2 cats. They can get it eventually. This is not easy to film.